Hey there, it's Lucas Catton, and I wanted to thank all of you who have taken the time to respond and give your support and initial feedback for the book. I greatly appreciate that, and I hope that if you do decide to read it, that you take the moment to share your thoughts about it and see if there's anything that's relatable to you. And although there are some of the more controversial subject matters that are in there regarding parts of my past, I think that the message as a whole is so applicable to anyone who's been through some very difficult times, which honestly is everyone, and how we can transcend that and move on to building and rebuilding a new life, or finding meaning in that suffering and into and onto a new future. And along that is kind of the topic of today's video, and some of the things, some of the principles that I've identified as things that were kind of leading me through this and are now today. And although I think, let's say on two extremes, on one hand, you might have someone who is aimlessly wandering through life and just goes wherever the wind blows, which I've been there. And on the other end, you have someone who is laser focused and wants to control the outcome of every particular situation in life. And I've been there as well. And neither one of those are really viable in terms of producing a fulfilling life, in my opinion. And so I've come up with this sort of acronym of being able to be somewhere in between, and you choose, or you pick, P-I-C-K, you pick how you're going to be in life, how you're gonna go about your days, and hopefully with some direction and some goals and some purpose and some meaning, you can get to some of these things that you would like to achieve or have at some time, and really enjoy where you are today at the same time. So as far as you picking how things are, the first is progress. The P stands for progress, in understanding that as long as you're continuing to move forward and make progress, no matter how great or how little that progress may be, and with the understanding that we might not always be making progress. In other words, we might get knocked back one day, or knocked down, or set back in some other way, and it might not always be a linear fashion. In fact, it rarely is a linear fashion in terms of progress and growth. But if we are progressing, and if we are putting one foot literally in front of the other, and also taking steps to continue to move on and to slightly improve a situation if it's not ideal to us, or trying to help keep moving forward, no matter what the circumstance is, then we can find satisfaction in that and achieve some sense of results, some sense of accomplishment. And along the way, you can look back and see where you've come from. And that's sort of what I did in the book for the past 10 years, roughly, where things are now and where things were. And even though at times it felt like I wasn't making any progress, absolutely there was progress along the way, and it is night and day since then. So the I stands for impermanence. And the notion of impermanence, that nothing really ever stays the same, that things are always in a state of constant change of some type, whether it be people, or as far as our lives as a whole, or inanimate objects, or conditions, or situations, or relationships. Or all these things are all changing. But it's also thoughts, moods, behaviors, difficult things, and wonderful things. These are all transient. And the passage from the Bible of "this too shall pass." There's so much wisdom in the notion of impermanence, in that if we look at when things are very difficult, and knowing that it won't always be this way, one way or another, things can and will change. And if we are working toward some type of progression, then it will usually change for the better. And if it doesn't, then maybe there's something we can learn from that. But that the fact that things are impermanent, including thoughts, if we're having difficult days of thinking that pop up in our head, we don't have to pay attention to them. We can let them go. If we have difficult mood days that are that we struggle with, we can let those go as well. There can be another tomorrow. There can be a next moment. So living from moment to moment, and really appreciating what is part of that as well. The C is for connection. And the title of the book is Reconnection. It talks about me basically reconnecting with life as a whole, but finding connection in life and creating a connection with other people, with other living things, with situations, and within ourselves. By focusing on these connections, we create a greater sense of belonging, and having similar groups that we might be a part of, or similar purpose that we're moving in a particular direction with people, but feeling connected as a whole can be part of this, and we feel grounded as a result as well. And the last one is kindness, leading with kindness. And just like everybody else, there are certainly times that I'm, being an a-hole, and that is part of being human. I'm sure if you ask people who know me that, of course, there's times where people get upset and things like that. But if your main mode and your main intention is leading with kindness and wanting a positive outcome and wanting having good intentions for other people and trying to be kind and be thoughtful and be accepting and certainly loving as a whole, love goes into this kindness bucket. If you look at that and are moving forward with kindness through your progress, with your connection, with an understanding of impermanence, then you're enhancing those people around you, which in turn enhances your experience of life as a whole. And all of this sort of creates a package that you can continue on and deal with situations and circumstances as they come up and move on to the next and make progress over time and feel a sense of accomplishment and achieve some goals, but not hang on to them as that laser focused expectation that can set us up for either intense struggle and miss a lot of beautiful things along the way, even if we do achieve that goal, or a lot of disappointment. But we're also not, again, aimlessly wandering through life. We have an idea, we have some intention, we have some goals that we're trying to achieve as well, some sort of results that we're trying to create. And it is a well-intentioned life that brings back so much in return, and you are serving other people along the way. So that's it for today. You pick, and I'll try to do the same. Thanks.